Hi, my name is Will Nunziata, New York City-based director and creator of theater, television, and film, and also proud FENIX Global Artist Ambassador. Today, I am thrilled to be speaking with the acclaimed Australian singer-songwriter, Ben Grace. For more on Ben, you can read more about him right below this video, but in the meantime, here is a sneak peek at the incredible talent of the one and only Ben.
You wrote a note and caught my eye. It passed from hand to hand and worked its way on down the aisle. Your mother, dear, one step ahead, intervened and tore those tender words to shreds. And I wondered what the preacher's daughter said. And I wondered what the preacher's daughter said. After the dance, your sweet 16, you grabbed my hand and dragged me out behind.
Well, hello, Ben. How are you?
I'm very well. Thanks for having me.
Ben, thank you so much. And I'm so excited that the audience just got a little sneak peek of your incredible talent. Ben, I want to know what it was like growing up in Australia and what little Ben was like in the music that was playing around in your house growing up.
I grew up in this really conservative Christian home, so there wasn't a lot of music around, but surprisingly we had a small number of vinyl, and it was John Denver and Cat Stevens and Peter, Paul and Mary. So outside of the hymns we sung in church, that was really the only music that played in my house. My mum was very famously anti-music. She just liked to have quiet. So yeah, there wasn't much, but the little I did have was really, really beautiful. And also the Beatles' White Album somehow got in there. I don't know how.
Well, listen, Ben, I want to know, when did you realize that you had a gift to not only sing, but to write?
I think, I don't know if I realized that as much as it was just a compulsion to write. So the story my parents tell is that in the womb, they would turn the radio on and I would start moving, and they would turn the radio off and I would stop moving, so that I just had music in my bones, and I always loved music. And it wasn't until I was 10 that I started playing piano, because we didn't have a lot of money, and so it was kind of, we waited kind of a long time for me to kind of start learning. But it was really kind of in my mid-teens, when I was playing in kind of high school band, and one of my buddies, Mike Bailey, explained to me that across the top of the sheet music there were these chords like G/B and D, and what they stood for, and the fact that you can then improvise. And for me, even though it meant improvising, what it also meant was I could actually write down some of the things I was playing on my piano. And so I did that, and the first song I ever wrote down was a song called Breakaway, and we played it at the high school talent show, and we won. And some part of it wasn't so much about the winning and the recognition, but about the fact that I'd created something, about the fact that I'd written something, and people heard it, and that became an obsession.
I love it. Well, speaking of creating, I'm curious to know what you were able to do these past 18 months. Obviously, it's been a tough time for humans and artists alike. Was there any creating that you did during the pandemic that you're with an optimistic mindset, excited to get out there and release?
Yeah, so my partner and I, Karen, moved in with two of our best friends, Matthew and Chris, 1 month before the pandemic hit. And Matthew is also an extraordinary musician. And so on the very first Thursday, we went live on the internet, on Facebook Live, and just decided to play a few songs. And then we went live for another consecutive 14 months on every Thursday night, doing this thing called Heathen Happy Hour, which was a sort of a themed covers show. The first one we themed was a couple of weeks in. It was called Disney Dixie Chicks and Drag. And people would request songs.
Wait,
under that
go back to that. How did I miss that, Ben? I would have been throwing Venmos and Zells and PayPals. Wait, Disney? Tell me again?
Disney Dixie Chicks and Drag.
If you could describe my taste in music, that is basically it. Sorry, keep going, my friend. You need to revive that just for selfish will.
Well, we're still doing it occasionally. We're doing a few live versions of it now. We played on stage at Wild Goose Festival on main stage and did Heathen Happy Hour live and absolutely loved it. So that was something that we did. And then during that time as well, our housemate Matthew, a drag persona called Flamey Grant was born. Flammy Grant being a tribute to the Christian artist Amy Grant. And so we just did this every Thursday and just absolutely loved it. We built community and people who were really locked down really hard were just there every single week. So that was the big thing we did during pandemic. And then also during that time, just did a lot of recording. So I think last year in 2020, I put out 21 songs through different artists and collaborations and just produced a lot of music in that year.
And that's amazing. What I love so much about you and your story, and please forgive me if I'm overstaying my welcome here, but with your conservative Christian upbringing, it seems like through you as a vessel, as both a musician and a human, you've been able to take the practices of Christianity that you seem to relate to and filter it through your lens in a very singular, special, relatable way. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, I think for me, when I was like 11 or 12 years old and sitting in my kind of middle class church family that was mostly white, I think I looked around the room and I couldn't reconcile to me the God that I saw in Isaiah, which is a God full of justice and a God who is about the marginalized and the widows and the oppressed and the fatherless. And I couldn't really kind of wrap my head around that we didn't see all of those people in the room. And so it's been a lifelong obsession for me to kind of say to other people and say to myself that everybody is loved by God, like period. And that's just what it is. And that everyone belongs at the table and everyone just belongs because they are and don't need anything extra. And I think a lot of the Christian faith has put all this extra stuff on top of that and tried to say, you only belong in these circumstances if you believe the right thing, if you act the right way. I just believe that God is love, period. And that's just what it is. And that's my mission to through my music and through my life, to make sure that I belong and make sure that everybody belongs.
Well, it's definitely a thread that's apparent, my friend. And I want to know my final question. Well, actually, before I ask my final question, I want to let everyone know for more on the incredible Ben Grace, you can read more about him right below this video. Excuse the noise, that is New York City. Ben, I want to know, what are you most optimistic about as we slowly but surely start to open up as both a musician and a human of the planet?
Oh man, I think the thing that I missed the most during the pandemic, even though we built this incredible community and gathered, every Thursday night and most Sunday mornings as well, the thing that I missed the most was after the show just connecting with someone, sitting at the back of the bar with a glass of whiskey and just having a long conversation about life and sharing our celebrations and our woes. And that was the thing that I missed the most. And coming back now to in-person music, that connection is so vital. And I'm amazed at how exhausted I am after a show, because real people with real feelings in a real room, we're just not used to that anymore. But at the same time, there's such a catharsis. Like I saw Glenn Hansard last Monday night, and I saw Alanis Morissette last Thursday night, and just the feeling of singing with people again, and just the feeling of shared humanity. I hope that in all the division that we kind of currently see in the world, that somehow this rallying of coming back out of the pandemic will kind of remind us that every single one of us is just human, and that we're all having the same bad days and good days and celebrations and tragedies, and that we'll just see ourselves really truly as neighbors and family.
Well, Ben, thank God we have someone like you who is able to not only remind us of all of this through who you are as a person, but through the universality that you present through your music. And I've been honored to speak with over 400 artists in 5 months around the world. And despite their language, creed, color, language, location, everyone is hungry for connection. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm so grateful that we are now connected, and that, Ben, through FENIX, you're going to be connecting with thousands upon thousands of artists and new fans around the globe.
Yep, looking forward to it. I'm excited to be part of this for sure.
Thanks, Ben.